Hello trumpet players, this is video number 5, our last video in the Trumpet Culture series. In this video we're talking about how to get more connected to the trumpet culture. Yes, there is a trumpet culture, for good or for worse, for good or for bad. There is a trumpet culture. And, just like everything we talked about in all the other culture videos, instead of trying to cut the culture down just because it got some stuff wrong, if you embrace the culture and try to change what you can change, but from within the culture, not only will you be helping other people, but you will be getting the best of both worlds for yourself. So let's talk about this. How do you get connected to the trumpet culture? The number one most important thing you can do is listening. We talked about this so many times. Listen to great trumpet players. I have that page on my website. It's now the most popular page on my website about listening. I'll try to remember to put a link up here. But it's an extremely important thing to do. You cannot be part of the trumpet culture if you don't know what trumpet sounds like. And part of being in the trumpet culture is knowing who's who, and that page will kind of help you do that. I'm still working on the jazz one, but the classical side of it is pretty much done. So that's the first thing, is do as much listening as you can. And I'm not going to go into the listening here because I have a whole series on listening that you can go listen to and watch. So let's move on. After listening, so important to take lessons. Now, I have a video that says who should take lessons, and says basically if you don't need lessons, don't take lessons. And that's still true. This all comes down to how seriously do you want to do this. If you want to be a great trumpet player and not just do this just for fun, you want to be more ambitious about it, do something more rewarding with it than just having fun, then yeah, you need lessons. Because there's no way to get that. In all of these culture videos, we've been talking about handing down knowledge and wisdom from generation to generation to generation. And that happens through that teacher-student relationship. And it has to be lessons. It can't just be watching stuff on YouTube. Why? Because you don't know what you need. You might think you know. But there's stuff that's not even on your radar that a good teacher will hear you. And, my personal model for lessons, I have what I call a commercial model or a professional model as opposed to academic. When you come to me, I'm going to help you get where you want to go. But that doesn't mean that you're just going to make stuff up and I'm going to say, yes, that's right. No, 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 no. If you come to me and you're having trouble getting to that point A, I have knowledge and experience that's been handed down to me from teacher to teacher to teacher. I am connected to the greatest teachers that ever lived for trumpet. If you follow the teachers that I had and they're, like the trumpet family tree, so to speak. If you follow the teachers that taught my teachers and the teachers that taught their teachers and the teachers that taught their teachers, I'm connected to all the greatest teachers there are in history. Ernest S. Williams. Um, the guy's out of New York, I forget the name right now, the Italian guy. Okay? Chickwitz. So my teachers, when you chase them back to who they studied with, I'm connected to all these great teachers. Oh, here in Houston, in Texas, we have Earl D. Irons. I'm connected through my teachers to Earl D. Irons. And so, yes, I'm passing that information down to my students that was passed down to me. And yes, it's true that some of what I was taught I don't agree with. So I've modified it. That's where my method came from. I always tell people that my method is not 100% made up. Where my method comes from is bits and pieces of these different things that come from my teachers. If I didn't have teachers, I'd have no method. You know, for example, Ernest S. Williams is the one that started the whole routine thing. My first books were routine books. They were heavily influenced by Ernest S. Williams. Because my teachers who, when you I keep saying pass, when you look at the lineage from my teachers back, the ones that showed me that Ernest S. Williams book are the ones that you can trace back to, that's the word I was looking for, trace. You can trace my teachers back to Ernest S. Williams, and it's not a coincidence that that book is in one of the books that I learned from. I think it's called Technique and Preservation or something like that. My concept of what a routine is comes from working out of that book. It's a very important thing, right? So this, me saying do this routine, it's not like I hadn't made all that stuff up myself. So when you take a lesson from me, even though I still see you as the boss, that's the difference between professional lessons and academic lessons. You're my boss. I'm here to do what you tell me to do. If you say I need to go in that direction, I'm going to give you everything I have in my power to help you go in that direction. You see how that works? And by hiring me as your teacher, and I'm not suggesting that's what this video is. Don't get me wrong. I'm using me as an example because that's what I know best, right? So when you hire me as a teacher to get to point A and then to point B, you're getting the wisdom and knowledge that was handed down to me from all those famous teachers. You cannot replace that with some 25-year-old, and I hope nobody that is online is 25 years old. I'm doing this extremely hypothetically. You can't get what I offer from a 25-year-old YouTube sensation. It's not the same thing. It doesn't even matter if that trumpet player that you're thinking of, and I'm not thinking of anybody. You guys know that I don't put people down. But if you're thinking of someone that's young like that, it doesn't even matter if that person is 10 times the player I am. That doesn't even matter. Not when you consider the lineage of the teachers I've studied with. So I'm here to troubleshoot your playing and help you get where you want to go. So that's the second thing, is taking lessons. Third thing, we already talked about this too. It's just in a different context. Master classes and interviews and stuff like that. There's a wonderful podcast by Bob Reeves. Bob Reeves. I think it's something about behind the bell or something like that. Um, so Bob Reeves makes mouthpieces and stuff like that. So they have interviews. I think it comes out once a month. I kind of stopped listening, but I shouldn't have. The only reason I stopped listening is I don't do podcasts anymore. But when I was doing podcasts, I was on theirs and made sure that I listened to theirs when they come in. But that's the kind of stuff that you can do. Get as much input from as many of those people as you can. And just like with the other videos, it's also important to participate, be involved. And one way you can get involved is to join the International Trumpet Guild. If you have anything that's more local than that, you can go to the National Trumpet Competition, NTC, as a spectator, or go to compete. You can go to, I know they have a trumpet thing in Westchester, Pennsylvania. That's one that I've always wanted to go to because I have family right there. I would love to go to that trumpet event in Westchester and then stick around for a while and visit family. One of these days it's going to happen. Maybe I'll get a booth. I don't know if they have that, but maybe I'll be one of the vendors or something. So, but yes, participate. And I know that echoes what I said earlier with the other videos, but now we're just being specific to trumpet. And you should, by the way, be in the trumpet culture. You should be in the jazz or classical or whatever your genre is, be in that culture, and then be in your family culture and your community culture. You should be part of equal parts of all of those. Now this video is a little bit shorter because I have less to say and I'm less excited about the trumpet stuff. I'm more excited about the bigger pictures, right? Because that's what matters more. We as trumpet players do better when we're more musical, and we as musicians do better when we're more connected to the community. That's just the way it is. Anyway, this is my last video of the year, and I'm finishing up in August. Haha. And the reason I'm doing that, I know I've said it a few times already. If you haven't seen those videos, these videos take me so long to get posted. And if I do them week to week, a lot of other stuff doesn't get done. So I decided this year I want 4 months of intense practice, 4 months of intense work on my compositions, 4 months of intense work on my publishing business. So I decided to get these videos out of the way. I apologize, I keep forgetting to turn the phone off. I wanted 4 months of intense work, and this is the last video of that. I'm so happy to be able to move forward, and so what I'm probably doing while you watch this is practicing. If I'm not practicing, I'm composing something. We're right on the edge of releasing a bunch of compositions again this year. And a couple books, at least 2 books that I'm looking at. One of them is an exercise book and the other one is a book of hymns. Don't quote me on that, and by the time this video gets out, all that should be already over. So, but if you haven't seen those, keep an eye open for them because they will have been published by now, God willing. All right. Okay. Well, thank you very much. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. Otherwise, you can join us at the weekly Q&A. I probably won't have one this week. I'm probably going to take a week off between Christmas and New Year, right? But other than that, God bless you. We'll see you on the next video. Thank you.